I will paint my entire house with nail polish before I ever ask a guy why her and not me. Are you insane?
Ladies, have you ever been in a relationship where the relationship ended and the man moved on and started dating someone else? And you look at that person and you look and you wonder why her, not you, and you ask that question. Let's talk about this. Hey guys, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. So today's video is an amazing conversation that a sister brought up. So she wanted to talk about how she would rather paint her entire house with a nail brush rather than for her to ask a man why her, not me. And I know this is a popular question that most women have asked at a particular point in time in their life, in their relationship, when the relationship ends, and they ask, like, why her, not me? Why did you pick her? Why did you choose to be with her? Why did you marry her? Why not me? And especially when you give that relationship your 150%, it just seems to really break your heart for you to have that conversation or for you to ask that question. So I want to know what you think about that conversation. Have you ever done something like that before? Have you ever asked that question before? And do you think it is a valid question? Anyway, guys, let's go hear this sister speak about this, and then people's respond to why people or why women will ask that question of why her, not me. Like the amazing conversation they were having about this, and explanation will just give you a bigger understanding. Okay, so let's just get into this video.
I will paint my entire house with nail polish before I ever ask a guy why her and not me. Are you insane? I will paint my entire house with nail polish before I ever ask a guy why her.
You and me both. That would be my last question that I ask any guy.
Entire house with nail polish before I ever ask a guy why her and not me.
This is one of the ways women give their power away. They give their power away by waiting for men to choose them. And if and when the man chooses another woman, they think that there is something wrong with them because their value and worthiness was based on if a man choose them, yes or no. And so now that the man didn't choose them, they internalize that rejection and they believe that there's something wrong with them. They're not good enough, they're not pretty enough, and they start to compare themselves to every other woman. So because they internalize that rejection, now they end up having stuck energy in one of their chakras. And because they internalize that rejection and they internalize that rejection and keep it in their system for years, every time they think about that situation, they keep giving the guy power over them. So every time they think that there is something wrong with them based on the rejection, every time they think that they're not good enough, they keep giving their power away to the same man. So that man have moved on, select another woman, but that man keep on being the main focus of their life because they internalize the rejection and know they have a belief that I am not good enough, I am not worthy enough. That is one of the ways women give their power away. They give their power away to people, situation, and things just because they don't know how to get over rejection.
Before I ever ask a guy why her and not me.
She is so real for that, but I actually have an answer for this one too. You've ever had an awful ex go on to date the next girl for like years and they just seem so happy together? And you've cried to yourself, why her? Like, why did she get a version of him that you begged him to be and he wouldn't be? I can tell you, because for so long, I started to feel like Good Luck Chuck, where every guy I dated would go on and the next girl he would date for like years, and it seemed like they were so happy. A few times that girl came back and made friends with me, and I learned everything. And my favorite time was one time I was dating this boy. We didn't have a nickname for him in our friend group because he wasn't that important. We'll call him Spoiled Army Boy because he was a single child, and I later learned out that he joined the ROTC for fun. Like, not even for, like, he just liked playing soldier, which is crazy. But as an only child, right, everything was always about him. I felt like I was always nagging and pushing him. Like, he was so lazy. He needed to be weighted on hand and foot. And I just, felt like I was always nagging him and pushing him and arguing with him to do better, be better. Things weren't terrible, but they really just weren't good, and I was doing everything, and he was never meeting me halfway, ever. One night, we had a decent little fight, and he just straight up ghosted me because he couldn't even, face when he was objectively wrong. But what literally felt like the next day, he uploaded a photo of his new girlfriend to Instagram. And of course, they have been together now since then. They've been together for 3 years, right? And they just seem so happy. And, I've asked myself, how did she get a version of him that I never saw? And they did break up a number of times, and he came back and I got some closure, and that's a whole different messy story time. But one of the times he came back, we went out for drinks, right? We partied, I let him crash on my place, and the next day or week, his ex-girlfriend posted a photo of him up on her social media. And I was like, I thought they weren't together anymore. That was sort of not the case. So of course I had to message her hey girly, I don't I was out with your man. Here's photos from the night. And she was like, oh, he said he was with his friend that night, a guy. So then a few weeks later, they break up and she comes back to me and she and I become friends and she tells me everything. For the last 2 years or so, he has been even worse to her and in general than he ever was to me. He's lazy, he doesn't have a job, he doesn't want a job, he's still living off his parents' money, he's talking to other girls behind her back, he's essentially cheating on her. They argue all the time, he gets a little scary, they essentially break up all the time as well, as we've seen at this point. He's just out lying, cheating, doing all the terrible things a man could pretty much do. And essentially because I kept putting my foot down and demanding that he do better and he folded immediately under the pressure, we were only together a month or two, I dodged the world's biggest bullet. And unfortunately, he had to go find someone years younger than me and much more vulnerable that he could push over into just accepting that behavior. They were just really good at taking photos and looking like they were happy. When you ask yourself why her and not me, well, it's just because she was willing to settle for that kind of behavior, unfortunately. Because men and people in general don't just change overnight for no reason and no therapy and no incentives at all. And I would feel bad for that girl, but she also went on to treat me really terribly and tried to use me and kind of my family, and everyone I introduced her to didn't like her because of how she treated everyone around her. And when they got back together, I told her, you gotta stay together because you two are kind of a match made in heaven. Things got so messy there. She tried to hook up with me. She tried to use me. She failed at trying to take every boy I was interested in. She threw up all over my apartment. She wrecked the walls of my apartment. And she got scary violent in front of my younger cousins, and everyone was kind of worried about it. That's a story for another day.
So let me know your own take down in the comment section. What's your own take? But please keep it respectful as always. Here on this channel, we're allowed to disagree as always. So just be respectful. Okay, we're a family here. We're allowed to have different conversation, different lifestyle. It is allowed and it's okay for us to have different opinions. It's not a fight. Okay? So here is mine. I love the two explanation. The lady that was talking about the chakra and all that, I love, and the other lady that was talking about how the other woman is taking what you did not settle for. The other woman probably just settled. I love the take, but I just want to add 1 or 2 things to it because you guys know your girl will always do that. So here's one of my take. I believe when you're on the journey, there is something I talk a lot here on this channel, talking about how women and younger girls should go heal their trauma so that they can learn to love themselves better and respect themselves better, choose themselves. If you have not gone through that process, I feel like that's our gospel right now on this channel. If you haven't gone that process where you know yourself, you know who you are and what you want out of life, sometimes you just hold on to something that was not yours in the first place. When you ask that question, it's because you actually feel not good enough. It's because you, I know I've asked that question before, why her, not me? Why do you treat her this way? Why not me this way? I've asked that question. And I know that for me personally, I'm speaking for myself too, at that point in time when I was that girl, okay, I had not done the healing. I centered men. And that's because the way I was raised, men was the pinnacle of this. And when you find a relationship, even if they are giving you the bare minimum or giving me the bare minimum at that point, I stay around because the man was the prize in quote. But when you've done the work and you've done the healing, it's a different ball game. But when the man, because most men, especially in the culture and the society I live in, I'm in Nigeria and I live in Nigeria all my life. the man is the prize. When a man is with you, the man is doing you a favor. If a man proposes to you, marry you, the man is doing you a favor, and you need to be appreciative because they will always ring it in your ear that there are other girls out there. So I'm picking you, so you should be happy, even though the relationship does not serve you anything. But just the fact that you have a man is a better reward so far. So I feel like that question comes from the main desperation of having a man or being with a man, because you so want to be with a man so bad that even though the man is not treating you right, you still want to be with him. And when you move on to the other person, you keep asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Why did he pick her? Even though you realize that you gave that relationship 100%. Coming from someone, I'm that person, I always give anything I do 150%. That is just who I am. That is what I am. Probably because of the part of my brain that is a perfectionist, because I cannot sleep in, like, I can't even move on with anything if I know I did not give the thing my 100%, because there will always be that question, should have, could have, in my head. So I always give everything I want to do 100%, even till now. But when I do that, it helps me to sleep better because I'm not going to ask that question. I'm just like, okay, I did my best and I'm moving on. I did my best wasn't good enough, and then that's it. Even though sometimes very heartbroken at that point where you've not choose yourself, when you've not picked yourself, it's heartbroken. But when you've done the work, when you've healed yourself, it's a different ball game, because you just look at it, you're like, you know what, this person doesn't deserve me because I'm the best person. I gave it 150%, and that is it. But if you're on the other side where you're still centering men, you're still all about men, it's like the line is really blurry where you just want to be picked, you just want to be choose, and when you're not choose, you moved on. And sometimes these men, they don't pick you, they don't choose you, because like we've already established here on this channel, most men are with a woman that serve a purpose for them. At that point, or at the particular point in that relationship, you've given your 150%, and this man was like, you know what, I'm moving to the next one, and that's it. And maybe that's why you are not choosing, and that's because it actually reflects that you don't love yourself. And another thing I want to quickly say is that when you've done the work, when you've done the healing, the type of people, generally not just men, even the friendship relationship you attract is a different type, because the people you attract can sense your aura, your vibe, and those are the people universe just align you with the right type of people. But when in your mind you still have that lack mindset, that pick me mindset, it's going to align you with those toxic energy. So it's always good for you to be in that world, know your spirituality, heal yourself, know God, be close to God, and align yourself with people. And then the sister that was talking about how sometimes the other girl is not as happy as you think, or and all that. When a relationship is not working for you, ladies, we've established here, move on. Move on, and stop comparing yourself with anybody. And sometimes, can we even, before I go deep into that, sometimes can we just establish that sometimes some relationship does not work for a reason, and it's fine. We hold on to something that sometimes we hold on to something that is not ours, especially if you're the type of person that always pray or do the work to say, you know what, take out energy or stuff that does not belong to me, stuff that people and things that does not serve me. Usually those type of people that attract and manifest those type of things, and the universe decide to move those people away from your life, and you now start asking question, why me, no, really, you should be happy. For me, the way I've aligned myself at this point is that when people or anything goes and don't work out, because I give everything my 100%, I'm always at peace. I'm at peace, and I feel like every woman, every young girl should get to that place where they've done the healing, they've done their work, and they give everything their 100%. And if it doesn't work, they move on. But one thing I always say, always put yourself first. So like the other lady was talking about how the other lady is not getting the best part of him, she's literally just settling for him. Some of those relationships that you feel like, that this man, all the prayer I've prayed for him to change. I'm talking like when my typical Nigerian woman will say, after all the prayer I've prayed for him to change, it did not change, da 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 da, but it's changing for her. That is why. That is why. She's only putting her best foot forward. The same way when you were in the relationship, people didn't know what you were going through. She's not in that relationship. She's going to play it out like everything is perfect. And probably he may even want to take from your card and say, okay, because one nothing, and decide to play her. Mm-hmm. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about this amazing conversation down in the comment section. Love to know what you think about this amazing conversation. But please keep it respectful as always. Go on and share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to put out my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and Destiny me. Okay, so go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces!